We're live from New Delhi. You're watching TT India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. US President Trump says US will take over Gaza and redevelop the territory. Says will visit Gaza, Israel and Saudi soon. Hamas says ready for talks with Trump administration. Zelenskyy says ready for direct talks with Russian president. Stresses US, Europe must be present at talks. Trump says talking to Russia and Ukraine to end the conflict. After Italy, Australia also bans DeepSeek AI program on government devices, citing security risk. Sweden's deadliest attack leaves 11 dead at Örebro school. Prime Minister Kristersson says worst mass shooting in Swedish history. Voting begins in India's national capital for assembly polls. Over 15.5 million electorate set to elect a new 70-member assembly in Delhi. On to the details. US President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that the US would take over the Gaza Strip after Palestinians are resettled elsewhere and develop it economically. Trump addressed reporters at the White House on Wednesday after talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the country's conflict with Hamas. Trump repeated his call for Jordan, Egypt and other Arab states to take in Gazans, saying Palestinians there had no alternative but to abandon the coastal strip. But this time, Trump said he would support resettling Palestinians permanently, going beyond his previous suggestions that Arab leaders had already steadfastly rejected.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
Meanwhile, Hamas says it is ready to establish contact and hold talks with the administration of US President Donald Trump. On Wednesday, Russia's RIA state news agency cited senior Hamas Politburo member Moussa Abu Marzouk as talks with the US have become a kind of necessity for Hamas, considering that Washington is a key player in the West Asia. And it was Trump's first meeting with a foreign leader since returning to office on 20th of January. It was meant to showcase close ties between the president and Netanyahu after a period of strained relations between the prime minister and Biden over Israel's handing of the Gaza conflict. On the issue of Israel's sovereignty over the West Bank, Donald Trump said he had not taken a position and would be making an announcement on the issue in the coming weeks. Trump has said he hopes to renew an effort towards historic normalization of relations between Israel and Arab power Saudi Arabia.
With the historic Abraham Accord, something that was really an achievement that was, I think, going to become more and more important because we achieved the most significant Middle East peace agreements in half a century, but the Abraham Accords in particular, and I really believe that many countries will soon be joining this amazing peace and economic development transaction. It really is a big economic development transaction. I think we're going to have a lot of people signing up very quickly. Unfortunately, for 4 years, nobody signed up. Nobody did anything for 4 years except in the negative.
Well, Netanyahu also voiced confidence on Tuesday that he could strike a peace deal with regional rival Saudi Arabia.
I think peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia is not only feasible, I think it's going to happen. I think if we had another half a year in your first term, it would have already happened.
True. Many more, I agree, many more nations.
I think you can't prejudge and pre-guess how we'll achieve it. but I'm committed to achieving it. And I know the president is committed to achieving it. And I think the Saudi leadership is interested to achieve it. So we'll give it a good shot, and I think we'll succeed.
Well, reacting to Trump, Saudi Arabia says they will not establish ties with Israel without the establishment of a Palestinian state, reaffirming that the kingdom's stance is firm and unwavering. And after meeting Trump, Netanyahu called him greatest friend Israel has ever had. Israel is preparing to send a high-level delegation to the Qatari capital Doha to discuss continued implementation of the Gaza ceasefire agreement. Under the terms of the original deal that sealed a 42-day truce and an exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners, talks on a second phase paving the way to a possible end to the war. And U.S. President Donald Trump is set to discuss tariffs with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The call comes as new 10% tariffs on Chinese imports take effect, promoting retaliatory measures from Beijing. China has imposed targeted tariffs on U.S. imports and put companies like Google on notice for potential sanctions. Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro, hinted that the call could lead to a reprieve for China, but emphasized that any decisions would be up to Trump. The U.S. is reviewing China's compliance with the Phase 1 trade deal. The outcome of the Trump-Xi call remains uncertain, although the U.S. president says he's in no rush to speak with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping, despite expectations of a phone call soon. And U.S. President Trump delayed 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada for a month in exchange for help fighting drug trafficking and immigration. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum convinced Trump to back down on tariffs. Mexico on Tuesday began moving troops to its northern border as part of a 10,000-member deployment that President Claudia Sheinbaum promised U.S. counterpart Donald Trump in exchange for a delay of his tariffs. Mexico's economy minister, Marcelo Ebrard, says a month is enough to reach an agreement with the U.S. before tariffs take effect.
We are starting a negotiation. Some say a month is not enough. There have been historical processes that have been made in one day, and there are years that nothing happens. This month is more than enough to reach an agreement on these topics.
Well, U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday signed an executive order withdrawing Washington from a number of United Nations bodies, including Human Rights Council, and setting up a broader review of U.S. funding for the multilateral organization. The executive order said it withdrew Washington from UNHRC and the main UN Relief Agency for Palestinians, UNRWA, and would review involvement in the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. Well, the move were made in protest against that White House Staff Secretary Will Scarf described as anti-American bias at the UN agencies. Tuesday's order would appear to end all U.S. participation in the Council's activities, which include reviews of countries' human rights records and specific allegations of rights abuses. Also, the 47 members of the UN Human Rights Council are elected by the General Assembly to 3-year terms, with the United States ending its latest term on December 31st. It currently has observer status at the body. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has expressed willingness to negotiate directly with Russian leader Vladimir Putin if it means ending nearly 3 years of conflict. In an interview with British journalist Piers Morgan, Zelenskyy stated he would engage in talks alongside 4 participants, likely Ukraine, Russia, the EU and the US. Despite this, Putin has rejected direct negotiations. Zelenskyy insists NATO membership remains Kyiv's best security guarantee. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said U.S. is talking to Russia and Ukraine to end the conflict. An International Atomic Energy Agency chief Rafael Grossi arrived in Kyiv on Tuesday, inspecting a damaged electricity substation and cautioning that continued attacks on Ukraine's power grid could trigger a nuclear disaster. Grossi, alongside Energy Minister German Goloshchenko, assessed the damage before announcing plans to visit Russia this week to discuss the situation, including the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
Clearly, the focus of my visit this time is to see and to assess personally the situation at in general, the substations, in particular this one. We've chosen Pitska because of its importance in terms of the functioning of the grid here in Ukraine. The situation is quite dire. We should not, I think, hide the fact, and as you can see behind us, this infrastructure has been degraded, but I must say that I'm impressed with the work, with the effort that is being put in order to ensure nuclear safety.
In his nightly address, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy revealed he and Grossi agreed to expand IAEA oversight at Ukraine's nuclear sites. And Australia has banned DeepSeek, a Chinese AI chatbot, from all government devices due to security concerns. The ban in Australia comes a day after Italy banned the AI bot. The Australian ban, advised by security agencies, aims to protect government systems from potential malware and privacy breaches. DeepSeek has raised concerns globally, with countries like South Korea, Italy and France expressing worries about its data practices. Australia's Home Affairs Department deemed the risk unacceptable and ordered the removal of DeepSeek from all government systems and devices. The ban has bipartisan support, with some politicians urging the public to consider removing DeepSeek from personal devices. The move adds to existing tensions between China and Australia, which have previously clashed over Huawei and TikTok. And a deadly shooting at an adult education center in Sweden has left 11 dead, including the suspected gunman, on Tuesday, marking the country's deadliest gun attack. The shooting took place in Örebro, west of Stockholm, at the Risbergska School for Adults. It is located on a campus that also houses schools for children. According to the local police chief, Roberto Eid Forrest, the gunman had acted alone and that they did not currently suspect terrorism as a motive. Though the police had opened an investigation into murder, arson and an aggravated weapons offence.
What we are doing right now involves several parts. Parts of this involves identifying the deceased as well as following up on the conditions of injured. Additionally, there is an extensive investigative effort underway. We still believe that we have the primary perpetrator, although we are not ruling out connections to others. Right now, we feel more confident that no further attacks will take place and the schools that were affected have been evacuated. As I see it, there is no ongoing danger, even though both we and the municipality, of course, have a significant amount of work ahead to discuss what has happened and how to ensure safety.
Well, Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson has called the fatal shooting a very painful day for all the Swedes. Addressing a press conference, Kristersson spoke of a darkness falling over Sweden and said there were many unanswered questions.
It is difficult to take in the magnitude of what has happened today. The darkness that is now falling over Sweden tonight, it is with bottomless sadness that we have received the news from the police that about 10 people have been killed and several have been injured in a school shooting in Örebro. What simply cannot happen has now also happened in Sweden.
Well, meanwhile, world leaders have extended their condolences on the tragic incident. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has offered neighbouring Sweden her country's full support and describing it as a terrible situation.
I am so sad, and all my thoughts are with the victims and their families and with the entire Swedish community and society. It's a terrible situation, and of course, our neighbouring country have all of our support.
And moving on, the Bangladesh High Court refused to grant bail to former ISKCON leader Chinmay Krishnadas Brahmachari and Bangladesh Samilito Sanatan Jagran Jot spokesperson in a sedition case filed over alleged desecration of the national flag. The court did, however, issue a ruling requesting that the government provide an explanation within 2 weeks as to why Chinmay Krishnadas should not be released on bail in this particular case. On November 25th, Das was taken into custody from Dhaka airport on allegations of sedition. Since November 26th of last year, he's been incarcerated. And Nepal Telecom celebrated its 21st anniversary on Tuesday. On the occasion, Minister for Communication and Information Technology Prithvi Subha Gurung urged Nepal Telecom to adopt advanced technology and expand its services to compete effectively with private companies. He also emphasized that the public should hold at least 25% of Nepal Telecom shares to ensure the company remains accountable to the people. For the regions with limited cellular indoor coverage, Nepal Telecom launched Wi-Fi services today. The technology uses the SIM number provided by the company to connect to the company's core network via Wi-Fi from anywhere in the world. This makes it easy for customers to make and receive calls on their existing mobile numbers without relying on OTT apps. And still to come in this edition of DT India Live. PM Modi to visit Kumbh Mela 2025 in Prayagraj to take holy dip at Sangam, promoting India's spiritual legacy. India becomes world's second largest mobile manufacturer, surpassing major milestones in domestic production. And Syria's National Symphony Orchestra performs first concert at Damascus Opera House post-Assad.
This week on Defence Dynamics, India strengthens its firepower. A 10,200 crore boost for Pinaka rockets. What does it mean for battlefield supremacy? From battlefields of Kargil to modern warfare. How India's Grad and Smirch rocket systems pack a punch. China builds a secret war command center 10 times the size of Pentagon. What's the Beijing's endgame? And Pakistan's internal crisis deepens. Political chaos, economic meltdown, and rising insurgency. How does it impact the regional security? Catch it all this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and moving on, India's national capital, Delhi, begins voting in the high-octane assembly election. The voting for the 70 assembly seats of Delhi will see about 1.56 crore voters cast their ballots to seal the fate of 699 candidates in a single phase. Delhi police has deployed 220 paramilitary companies, 19,000 home guards and 35,626 Delhi police personnel to ensure free and fair elections. They have also taken a variety of security measures, including paramilitary forces, police personnel, CCTVs, AI-enabled cameras and drones. Voting, which began at 7 a.m., will conclude at 6 p.m., the results of which will be announced on the 8th of February. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged the voters to participate in this festival of democracy with full enthusiasm and cast their valuable vote. In a tweet, he said, "On this occasion, my special wishes to all the young friends who are going to vote for the first time. Remember, first vote, then refreshment." And India's Home Minister Amit Shah chaired a security review meeting on Jammu and Kashmir in New Delhi on Tuesday. The meeting was attended by Home Secretary Govind Mohan, Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi and other senior officials. In the last review meeting held last month, the Union Home Minister directed all security agencies to adopt a zero-tolerance policy against terrorism and work in a coordinated manner to eliminate terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. He emphasized the implementation of the Area Domination Plan and Zero Terror Plan in mission mode. And India has made a significant progress in the mobile and electronics manufacturing and has become the world's second largest mobile manufacturing country. In 2014, India had only 2 mobile manufacturing units, but fast forward to today, the nation boasts over 300 manufacturing units, underscoring a significant expansion in this vital sector. In 2014-15, only 26% of the mobile phones which were being sold in India were made in India. The rest were being imported. It is worth mentioning that today 99.2% of all mobile phones which are sold in India are made in India. The manufacturing value of mobile phones has surged from 18,000 crore rupees in financial year 14 to a staggering 4,22,000 crore rupees in financial year 2024. And now to all the latest from the Mahakumbh, the largest gathering of humans anywhere on the planet. Well, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Kumbh Mela 2025 in Prayagraj on Wednesday. He will take a holy dip at the Sangam and offer prayers to Ma Ganga. Kumbh 2025 is the world's largest spiritual and cultural gathering, attracting devotees from across the globe. The Kumbh will continue until Mahashivratri on 26th of February. In line with his commitment to promote and preserve India's spiritual and cultural heritage, Prime Minister has consistently taken proactive steps to enhance infrastructure and facilities at pilgrimage sites. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Sonmarg town of Indian UT of Jammu and Kashmir is alive with excitement as an ice skating competition organized by SDN State Tourism aims to promote winter sports and local talent. The event features 20 skaters under expert guidance. Local residents and participants are enthusiastic about the initiative, which enhances Sonmarg's reputation as a winter sports hub. The recently inaugurated Sonmarg tunnel by PM Modi is expected to boost winter sports and tourism, driving economic growth and ensuring year-round access to the valley. North Indian state of Himachal Pradesh witnessed fresh snowfall in high reaches on Tuesday, including the north portal of Atal Tunnel in Rohtang and Kalpa in Kinnaur district. Dharamshala and Kangra also received snow, while Shimla and Bhuntar experienced drizzle. The local meteorological office has issued a yellow warning for thunderstorms and lightning in Una, Bilaspur, Hamirpur, Chamba, Kangra and Solan on Wednesday. Police advised commuters to avoid unnecessary travel due to slippery roads and reduced visibility. And India has been featured in the United Nations honor roll for paying its regular budget assessments within the 30-day deadline, according to the Permanent Mission of India in New York. The UN's General Assembly approves the budget in December and member states receive payment notes in January. India's timely contributions highlight its commitment to the UN's principles and financial stability. Notably, India has consistently appeared on the honor roll, reaffirming its role as a responsible UN member. And on to some business news now. Japanese automakers Honda and Nissan may call off merger talks, a move that would pitch hard-hit Nissan into greater uncertainty. Sources say Honda had sounded out Nissan about becoming a subsidiary, an idea that Nissan had strongly opposed. In December, the automakers had said they aim to set up a holding company by August 2026, when both of their shares would then be delisted. Nissan said discussions were ongoing between the companies and there would be an announcement after they finalized their direction in mid-February. Nissan plans to hold its board meeting as soon as Wednesday afternoon. A Honda spokesperson also declined to comment, saying the automaker intended to make an announcement by mid-February. And in sports news, India rising tennis star 15-year-old Maya delivered a stunning performance at the Mumbai Open WTA 1-55, defeating Belarusian Irina Shimonovic to advance to the round of 16. The young sensation outplayed her more experienced opponent with a scoreline of 6-4, 6-1, displaying remarkable precision and composure. Meanwhile, India's wildcard entry, Ankita Raina, dominated compatriot Vaishnavi Atkar, securing a 6-2, 6-2 victory as well. Shivali Bhamitapati too delivered a commanding performance, dismantling Russia's Elena Pridankina in a one-sided contest. And former Sri Lankan captain Dimut Karunaratne will retire from Test cricket after his 100th appearance in the format against Australia at Colombo. With Australia leading the series 1-0, the second Test at Galle will take place from February 6th onwards. Karunaratne made his Test debut in 2012 against New Zealand. In 99 Tests, he scored more than runs with 16 centuries and 39 50s. He's the fourth highest run getter for Sri Lanka in Test and will now become the 7th Sri Lankan player to reach 100 Tests. And to rounds of applause, the musicians of Syria's National Symphony Orchestra took their place on stage for their first classical concert at the Damascus Opera House since Bashar al-Assad's ouster. The concert was conducted by Misak Bagbabudarian, a member of Syria's Armenian minority, and included works by Beethoven and Tchaikovsky apart from Syrian composers. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.